morning, friends! So glad you're riding along with me today on this sparkly December morning. Welcome to the Morning Ride Stories, Christmas Special Edition. If you're looking out your window right now, maybe you see frosty rooftops, glowing decorations, or twinkly lights bouncing across passing houses. Everything feels extra magical today, because today's story is called The Christmas Cookie Mix-Up. And oh, what a fun one it is! It has cookies, surprises, school excitement, and a whole lot of Christmas kindness. Just imagine a classroom filled with the smell of cinnamon, a bake sale full of delicious treats, and one cookie mistake that turns into the sweetest moment of all. Ready to hear what happens? Let's hop into the story. At Maple Grove Elementary, December was everyone's favorite month. Snowflake decorations hung from the ceiling. Paper reindeer pranced across the bulletin boards, and soft Christmas music played in the hallways during morning arrival. It made the whole school feel like a cheerful winter village. During homeroom, Mrs. Pine, who always wore holiday sweaters with jingling bells on them, stood in front of the class with a giant poster shaped like a gingerbread house. "Class," she said warmly, "it's time to prepare for our annual Christmas charity bake sale." A delighted murmur spread across the room. The bake sale was special. Students brought homemade treats, and all the money raised went to help families in town who needed cozy coats, warm meals, or holiday support. Among the excited students sat Lila, a bright, gentle girl who loved baking almost as much as she loved snow days. She immediately thought of her grandmother's famous ginger snowflake cookies, soft and spicy with tiny icing designs that sparkled like frozen stars. Lila signed the sheet quickly. Not far away, Ben, a quiet classmate who often kept to himself, stared at the sign-up list without moving. His shoulders slumped a little. Mrs. Pine noticed too. "Everyone is welcome to participate," she said kindly, "but if bringing something is tricky, that's all right. There are many ways to help." Ben nodded, but his face stayed worried. The bell rang, chatter bubbled up again, and the excitement of the upcoming bake sale filled the classroom like the smell of cookies themselves. 2 days before the sale, Lila's house shimmered with Christmas spirit. String lights glowed softly in the windows, holiday songs played on repeat, and in the kitchen, bowls, measuring cups, and cookie cutters were spread across the counter like a little baking parade. Lila's grandmother, known for her gentle laugh and endless collection of holiday aprons, tied one around Lila and said, "Ready to make some Christmas magic?" The kitchen filled with warm, cozy smells: cinnamon, ginger, brown sugar, and just a hint of vanilla. Lila mixed the dough while her grandmother shaped the first tray of cookies, pressing snowflake patterns into each one. But halfway through decorating, Grandma paused and held the counter for balance. "Oh my, I think I need to sit a moment," she whispered. Lila immediately helped her to a chair. Grandma smiled and waved her hand softly. "I'm all right, dear. Just a bit of a dizzy spell. You go on and finish. You know the recipe by heart." And she did. Mostly. She wanted to make Grandma proud. She stirred the next batch of dough herself. But in all the excitement, things got a little mixed up. She added flour twice. She mixed the sugar and salt bowls by mistake. She wasn't sure if the butter was melted enough or too much. When she shaped the cookies, some dough was sticky, some crumbly, and some just felt strange. Still, Lila believed everything would turn out fine. Cookies always did, right? The next morning, the kitchen smelled wonderful, but the cookies did not look wonderful. Some had puffed up like little ginger balloons. Others had spread into thin, wonky shapes. A few were so tough that even Grandma joked they might make good Christmas ornaments. "Oh dear," Grandma said gently as she inspected them. "Looks like the recipe took a little adventure of its own." Lila looked crushed. "I can't take these to school. Everyone else will have perfect treats." "Sweetheart," Grandma said, placing a warm hand on her shoulder, "what matters is the love you put into them, and you worked so hard. Sometimes things don't turn out the way we expect, but that doesn't mean they won't turn out wonderfully in the end." The words helped a little. Not a lot, but a little. Lila carefully chose the least lopsided cookies and packed them into a tin lined with festive napkins covered in tiny holly leaves. On the way to school, as the bus rumbled across frosty streets, she hugged the tin close and hoped, really hoped, that no one would laugh. When Lila entered the cafeteria, it had transformed into a Christmas wonderland. Red and green tablecloths covered long tables. Students placed trays of sparkling cupcakes, chocolate-dipped pretzels, and powdered sugar brownies. Everything looked delicious. Lila's fingers tightened on her tin. Her treats didn't belong among these picture-perfect desserts. She quietly slipped to the end of a table behind a tall poinsettia plant, hoping no one would notice. Just then, Ben walked in, empty-handed. His face looked even more nervous than it had earlier in the week. Lila remembered the way he stared at the sign-up sheet, wishing he could bring something. She took a breath and opened her tin. "Ben, you can share mine. We can say we made them together." His eyes widened. "Are you sure?" "Of course." The relief on his face was so clear, it warmed the whole spot where they stood. They placed half the cookies on a plate and wrote a little sign. "Christmas Mystery Cookies by Lila and Ben." Even though they looked unusual, Ben placed the plate proudly on the table, and slowly, students began to notice. The first taste tester was Mia, who never feared trying anything new. She picked up a cookie shaped like a wiggly blob and bit into it. She blinked, then blinked again. "Oh, wow," she said loudly. "This is actually delicious." Heads turned. Soon more kids came over. They tried cookies shaped like triangles, circles, squiggles, and mysterious lumps. Each one tasted different, but in a fun, exciting way. One tasted salty sweet, like a pretzel dipped in caramel. Another tasted like cinnamon clouds. A third somehow tasted like popcorn and gingerbread at the same time. Everyone giggled, delighted with each surprising bite. "Christmas mystery cookies," someone shouted. "These are awesome!" Lila, watching from the side, felt her cheeks grow warm. She wasn't embarrassed anymore. She was amazed. And Ben, standing proudly next to the plate, had a smile so big it looked like it had been waiting years to come out. By the end of the bake sale, the mystery cookies were gone. Completely! Even teachers had bought some, laughing at the silly shapes and unexpected flavors. Mrs. Pine walked over with the empty plate. "These were the star of the bake sale," she said with a twinkly smile. "What's the secret?" Lila swallowed, nervous but honest. "I mixed up the ingredients a little, and I shared them with Ben so he could be part of the bake sale." Mrs. Pine's smile grew even warmer. "Lila, that's generosity at its finest. You turned a mistake into something wonderful, and you helped a friend feel included." Ben stood nearby, his eyes shining. "Thank you," he said quietly to her. "No one has ever shared something like that before." And at that moment, Lila understood something important. Even the smallest acts of kindness can make someone feel seen, welcomed, and valued. And sometimes imperfect cookies can bring people together in the most perfect way. After school, Lila told her grandmother everything. How the cookies had looked funny, how the kids loved them anyway, how Ben had stood taller and happier than she'd ever seen him. Grandma listened with soft eyes and proud wrinkles. "Ah," she said, stirring her cocoa. "That's the magic of Christmas kindness. It doesn't have to be fancy or perfect. It just has to come from the heart." Outside, snowflakes drifted down gently, turning the street into a glowing winter path. Inside, Lila felt warm from the inside out, not because of cookies or cakes or icing, but because of something sweeter. Generosity, empathy, and helping someone who really needed it. Wasn't that a lovely story? Lila thought her mixed-up cookies were a mistake, but her kindness turned everything into something truly wonderful. That's the beautiful thing about generosity. You don't need something perfect to make someone feel special. You just need a caring heart. Take a moment and think. Is there someone today who might need a little help? Maybe a classmate who could use a friend. Maybe someone who forgot something and would be grateful if you shared. And here's a gentle question for you. What small kindness could you offer today, even if it's simple? Remember, kindness is one of the brightest Christmas lights we can shine. Thanks for listening, friends. I hope today's story inspires you to share a little kindness, just like Lila did. Even a tiny act can make someone's day feel warm and bright, just like Christmas lights on a winter morning. Have a wonderful day at school, and see you tomorrow for another Christmas story on the Morning Ride Stories.